delighted that you're with us once again. And we have not yet seen Lincoln ourselves personally, but it looks like we're going to get to do that this afternoon. So, and hopefully within the next day or so, Lincoln will be out of his extra care need and be joining us at home. So hold the space. Thank you, everybody, for doing that.
Yeah, and Arya is not, anybody under 18 is not allowed in the newborn intensive care, so she can't even go back and see him. They don't even have a window where you can look in. So we did FaceTime with him last night, and that was exciting for her. So we've had her here with us since Tuesday, and it's like being parents all over again, having a little one, getting her ready for school or whatever. Of course, she wasn't in school yesterday or today, but anyway, we've enjoyed having her here and keeping her busy, and so thank you, everybody, for thinking about us.
For sure. So welcome, and if you're out there in listener land, our call-in number, if you're on one of those stations where we can't see you, is 563-999-3581. If you dial that number, you'll be listening to the show directly through your phone. And then if you push 1, that will raise a hand in the control panel, and Jeannie will know you want to talk to us. And we'll get to have a conversation. So lots of energy moving here with the Arya rain being present with us. Our gardens are rocking. And we're getting ready to travel in a couple of weeks, so lots going on. And before I start into the next level of our last conversation, Ms. Jeannie, do we have anybody in the phone queue with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room?
No, it is all quiet. So I have texted several people and kept them up to date, and thank everybody for their prayers and concern and checking on us. But there's no hands up, and I've looked, and I don't have an email from anybody that we haven't answered, and I just refreshed the chat room, and there's no questions there. So I'd say go for it.
All right. Well, I had...
hand just went up.
Oh, great. Let's say hello. That's cool.
Miss Susan, 610.
It's always better to be live.
And it's good to hear you.
Hey, hi. Well, you've been through the ringer. I mentioned to Jeannie on a text that even though Lincoln isn't your biological connected person, he has a similar thing, wasn't it? The lung thing. How did that hit you, Michael?
Yeah, it certainly was something that I thought about. You know, the last 6 days I was in utero, my mother had toxemia, so they were trying to force me out with Pitocin. And so it's a little different situation than the fact that he aspirated on some fluids during his birth. Apparently that's a fairly common thing, especially for boys to do in a C-section. And you know, the big problem is that he aspirated some of fluids into his lungs, and so his lungs are, the ability of the air sacs to open was compromised, and that's what they're working through when getting the fluids out of his lungs. So a little different situation, but I have certainly done lots of breathing since that whole circumstance, and it's felt pretty clear for me in terms of what went on for me as a kid around it. And it's been a matter of just really being the space for Brian and Gabby and Arya, and for Jeannie. It's brought a few layers up for her. So
I bet. Well, I'm just amazed that you're on the show. Good work.
Well, fortunately, with Lincoln, it's not life-threatening. It's a challenge. I mean, if they didn't do anything, it would be life-threatening, but it wasn't. They actually gave him 5 or 6 hours in the hospital where he was born to see if you could get through this. Apparently, the alveoli in the lungs, when the fluid gets in there, it keeps them from opening properly, and that's how the oxygen gets into the blood. So They gave him 5 or 6
Right.
hours, and after that decided that they would send him to this neonatal, and then they have a protocol where once they're at neonatal, they're at least 48 hours. So hopefully at the 48-hour point, he'll be ready to go. We'll probably find out later today.
Yeah, yesterday
Yeah.
they had taken him off of the oxygen yesterday morning, but they said by about noon that his oxygen level had dropped down to about 80, so they put him back on it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gasping for air as you tell about this.
Breathing
Okay.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Good.
and
Congratulations.
yeah, we're excited. He has hands like a football player already.
Wow.
I mean, he was 8 pounds 9 ounces, Jeannie, and 21 inches long, but his hands look
8'6" and only 19 inches long.
8'6".
So he's a little bit chunky, which is a good thing because, since he's not gotten, he wasn't nursed for about 36 hours anyway. And so he's got a little extra reserve.
Yeah.
Why did
Arya.
Gabby have to have a C-section? I mean, it's none of my business. You don't have to say, but
Well, when
was
Arya
there a
was
problem?
born, no, when Arya was born, she was in labor for, I don't remember now, almost 48 hours and was just not dilating. So they finally decided to do a C-section, and it was becoming a danger to her. And then I guess in most medical circles, once a C-section, always a C-section. Although
I see.
that's not necessarily true, but it was just kind of automatic. That's what we do. So
Yeah.
so a lot of doctors
Okay.
after one C-section don't like to step into a natural birth. Although I know of several cases where it's happened, but it's not exactly protocol, I guess.
Right. Okay.
So how are you doing? What's exciting in your world?
I'm doing well, thank you. There's always a lot exciting. I'm following the news too closely and having to do breathing, It's a lot to take in and make sense of, because some of it doesn't make any sense. We finished an enormous church yard sale with not the greatest results. It's a different culture and time. The crowds were smaller. We had a lot of leftover things to get rid of, and my fellow parishioners were willing to take it all to Goodwill, but there was such good stuff there that we've decided to separate out the best things and put them on Facebook Marketplace, and then we're thinking maybe that's more effective if parishioners want to do that all year long with something they don't need anymore and are willing to give the proceeds to the church as a kind of an ongoing fundraiser. Well, we're thinking about things like that.
I saw the dragonfly lantern that you had and thought, that looks pretty cool,
right.
but decided to let it go.
There's some beautiful things, and there's an awful lot left. We're about to put, if we can get a stretch without rain. It's been unpredictable. It said yesterday that it wasn't going to rain for 2 days, and so I was going to run down to the church and get some friends to help me put out about 25 boxes or so of stuff to let the neighbors pick through, and that's always great. I put it on Craigslist as free stuff, and a lot of it is taken right away because we're in a neighborhood that isn't, can really use things. Immigrant families who have nothing and inner city families who have very little and are just thrilled to get clothes and housewares and things. But I keep having to change my mind.
Rain's been tricky.
It's been tricky, yeah. So, and Jonathan is helping his son move apartments up in Boston, but he called today and was struggling with depression, and we had a good talk. He's still letting go of connecting his self-worth to his being a doctor. It's not going easily. So
yeah, that's a big thing.
it's funny because he was working so hard and so long that he really didn't have much of a life. He was helping a lot of people, but he was afraid for his health, as I've said. He didn't think he was going to live very long if he kept that up. So I'm doing my breathing and my mind shifters. Mind shifters are good. They put it right in front of you. It's safe and
yeah,
doing,
they're hard
and
to
I love
escape,
it.
aren't they?
I know. You just have to look at the issues. So there are just some challenges physically where Tim and I are safe and healthy, knock on wood.
Awesome.
But I find life, I'm sure you do too, just such a challenge. My music software is discontinuing, and it's going to become obsolete, which means I cannot edit anything I have written. And so I've made PDF files of all of the finished pieces. Of course, for me, a piece is never finished. Every time we perform it, there's something I want to change. But young composers are writing into the music software and saying, oh my God, I'm so screwed because I hope to have 20 or 30 more years of composing. I have to learn a new software. I don't like it very much. And these pieces won't migrate easily to that program. You know, there's just so many things going on. So many things we thought we could use forever, we can't. Anyway, I guess I'm on a tiny rant. All is well. It's just life's little challenges along the way. So.
You think your life's purpose to challenge us?
Maybe getting the stress you need and a little more.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold you in a blessing.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. Carry on, and congratulations, Grandma, Grandpa.
Thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to having that little guy here and being able to hold him.
Bet.
We'll get to touch him today, but we're not going to be able to hold him. He's still hooked up to too many monitors and all of that. But so hopefully a day or two is going to bring him home.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Yep.
thanks
Excited.
for the pictures, and I saw them on Facebook too. They look great.
All right. Blessings.
Okay. Thanks. You too.
And we have another hand up.
Great. Let's go for it.
Miss Celinda, 541, you're on the air.
Good morning. How was your 2 days off?
It was hardly off, but we didn't do the radio show.
Mostly on.
With Arya and baby being born by C-section with problems has been a pretty busy time. We just finished feeding the kids. They didn't get to bed till 3 o'clock this morning after being with the baby last night. They've got a half-hour drive to the hospital where he is, and so they came by and just had breakfast. Just left here a few minutes ago, and we're going to head down there as soon as the show's over to and take Arya with us to see what we can see of Lincoln. So.
Yep. Cool name. Baby.
So how are you? What's happening in your world?
Well, it was interesting. I'd forgotten that you had said that you had a C-section. Your mother had a C-section from toxemia. That was exactly what happened in my situation.
No. There was no C-section for me. I was born vaginally, but what happened was that 6 days before my due date, she had toxemia. And they used Pitocin to try to force my birth for 6 days. And that was a pretty intense experience. I actually have had memories of that, in doing some still point breathing. I've had memories of the pressure of that, trying to be forced into birth when I guess I just wasn't ready. So.
Right. Yeah,
but fortunately, there was no C-section involved.
Well, that's interesting in relation to that because I think I had Pitocin also when I gave birth to Larissa, so that's very interesting because I didn't dilate at all. so the doctor, fortunately, I had a natural childbirth. He was the OBGYN at the Phoenix Memorial Hospital. Big black dude. He was wonderful. I enjoyed being his patient so much. And he was a true believer because his whole his clinic was in one of the poorest sections of Phoenix. It was in a Mexican, less Hispanic section. I was the only little white face other than his Caucasian nurse that would show up in the clinic. But I just so enjoyed his being my OBGYN. And he came and he sat by my bed the whole time. He didn't leave.
Sweet. That's pretty amazing.
And my mother said that I was a preemie. I don't know if that's true or not because I had a difficult time knowing when my mother was exaggerating or whether she was on a roll in a story that wasn't true and when she was telling the truth. But she had toxemia really badly, and she said that's why they decided to do the C-section before I was term. And so that may have had some effect on my early supposed heart murmur that I had. I was in bed for a good part of my third year, apparently, according to my mom. So that's more information for my worksheets. Yep.
Yes. Yep, each layer, and breathe for sure. So how did things come out from our conversation where I thought it was powerful the way that everything just dovetailed from power person to the issues with your daughter to the issues with your dad to the issues with your mom and yourself? I thought that was just a really powerful example, and it was a powerful, wonderful piece of work you did. How did that unfold when we completed?
Because I don't think we got down to the bottom at all of that worksheet, and I've got it here on the other side. So I did my best to finish it up. I think we got down to canceling the goal, which was, if you want me to go ahead with this.
Sure. Yeah, I think we had just completed the idea of bringing love forward, and we're getting ready to go into 5A. That's my note anyway.
Yeah, that was it. I choose essence, my love. I love my essence. It goes both ways, doesn't it? Which stirs the love in everyone involved. And then you said something that I wrote down, which brings in our whole human essence, life experience and compassion. And that really was a great compliment for me, so I wrote it in my worksheet. So when upset, my perception, my mind's construct is built out of corrupt data driven by my goal, and collapses.
Number 3.
Collapses, and I get to drop into the parts of my mind hidden from me by my pretense that others are responsible for what I have created. So my action step is while holding, and again I like to add perfect, while holding perfect, love, conscious, active, and present, Rahma. I can thank Dr. Tim for mentioning that you used to put perfect in a lot, and I said, I think I like that. I'm going to run with it. Love, conscious, active, and present, Rahma. I now choose to have my mom acknowledge me and let me be me so I can feel safe. And I added, and loved, so I can feel safe and loved. Those were both important. So I had added that to my number 3 goal, too, after we got off the show.
Right.
And then so that felt really good.
So you canceled that goal, as you cancel that goal, breathe and listen, was there anything that specific that surfaced?
If I can, I just now feel safe and loved. I just realized that I'm never going to get that safety and love from another person, no matter how they wanted to give me that, or I didn't perceive it, or they couldn't give it to me. That's all coming from inside myself. So I now feel safe and loved, that I've always been safe and I've always been loved. I just didn't equate my time with my father's side of the family, the good times I had with my stepfather when he'd play jacks with me and take me down to the store to buy the Lucky Strike Hit Parade songs of the week. You know, I don't know if you remember all that or not. And what an oxymoron, right? You know, Lucky Strike Hit Parade songs. But anyway.
Yeah.
And I see that Mom was doing the very best she knew how to keep me safe and to love me. That's what I realized. But she was just like me. She could only do what she could do. She could only do what she could know or understand or have life experience with. And then, of course, little memories started coming up about all the times that she did come and treat me lovingly, and she did come and save me from my own misbehaviors and stuff without punishing me, which I didn't realize that she wasn't punishing me the other times. I just thought she was punishing me, and she was just doing what she had to do to be a mother. You're going to wear your leggings. It's snowing outside. You can't go to school without your leggings and your coat and your hat and your gloves. Oh, but Mother, you're being mean when you're 6 years old, right?
So probably a good time to be finished with this construct of your mind about mean people.
Yeah. I mean, they're just caught in their own reality just like I am, and they're doing their very best to be the best person they know how to be in that situation, and then they lose it just like I do, and then they go beat themselves up, and the beating themselves up just reinforces the next time for losing it, just like I do. So, hey, wake up,
you say just like you used to do?
Yeah. But
I'm with you on that.
I forget when I decide to let the world be my reality instead of the actuality of Rahma, Kuba, and Rucha.
Yeah, and by the way, from the Aramaic, I would distinguish between bringing love present, i.e. bringing my human life as the created essence of love forward into my mind to fuel my mind and my body. And in Aramaic, when they spoke of perfect love, when they said perfect love casts out fear, it was referring to the way the mind operates, and that if Rahma and Kuba are set, then the mind's incapable of producing an either hostility or fear-based reality. So when they said perfect love casts out fear, it was that if you've got those filters set, your mind just can't generate anything based in hostility or fear. So slightly different from the descriptor of ourselves as pure being, as that created essence of love.
I guess I just see it all as one enchilada.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have never left the source. I just think I left the source.
We thought we did.
I thought it
right.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought we did. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So
the truth is,
me,
being is always 100% shiny and new. Whatever time we choose to bring it forward, it's what is, and it doesn't. And the truth is, it doesn't matter who it is, how deep they've sunk into the pit. When being is restored, being is new, and it's a whole new beginning point.
I like to think of Rahma not only as my filter for my perception and for my thinking, and Kuba as a filter for my perception that's all aligned in love and is love. I think of it as a portal. It is the portal as well as my filter to put on in my human being, but also my portal back to the actuality of I've never been separated from love. And that's only language. I'm doing my best to practice it into my actuality.
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah, it is clearly the gateway that our human beingness, our human lives enter this form. Yeah. And the way we get to incarnate is through that gateway or that portal. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love gateway too,
cool.
And I love channel, and I love fountain, and fountain channels water through itself and out into the world, and so those all work for me. Yes.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
And then my picture, I don't do pictures well. I have these little stick figures. There's this little kid going, wee, and she's spinning or jumping along with her arms out, and that's my picture. And
cool.
Then number 7 is principle of the universe is by giving, I first get the original. I am grateful for this opportunity to heal, and to hear, and to see, and that's this opportunity to heal. I choose truth and perfect love. And I love Neil Douglas Klotz's couple of his definitions or his understandings of the Aramaic meaning of perfect. As he used to say, he says in his original prayer, perfect is ripe, like you all have mentioned. And then the other one he uses is good enough for now. This is just fine for this moment in eternity.
Right.
So for more,
and new ripenesses may arrive.
Yeah, it's the what I call evolutionary perception of the revolutionary ripe, if that makes any sense. But anyway.
Sounds like a great title for a political book.
Oh, good. What is that title?
Oh, I don't know if I can repeat the words you just said, but the revolution and the resolution and the
revolution and revelation and the revelation and the evolution, the two aspects, or two of multitudinous aspects of our awakening. I just see them as, it's sort of like science and spirituality walking hand in hand along the way.
Right.
That thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've never separated.
No, they never have. We have. They have. Oh, it's another illusionary separation.
It appears we've separated. Yeah, we've created this whole false world. I love how the Course expresses it. That perception is quite literally a world made up by us to take the place of what the Creator gave us in creation. It's a whole construct. It's a whole world, and it's the only world where forgiveness needs to be applied. It isn't about applying forgiveness out there or to anybody else. It's the tool that, as long as perception exists, will be necessary for the collapse of that construct. And then, once we're done with that, then forgiveness is done too. There's no longer any use for it. The illusion is gone. We've returned to the place of our created essence, and the objective is, of course, to live from that.
Right.
Shiny and new.
And then the other thought I just thought of is, my perception at this time is that the image and likeness of God was our ability to create, and my intuition is that we were given that creative power so we could co-create with the Creator, the Garden of Eden on earth. And,
That's
like
exactly
you mentioned,
the instruction that was given.
Complete, yeah. Well, when we decided that we would go our own way, we basically cut ourselves off from our awareness that we are co-creators.
My take would be that we are designed to go our own way if we were ourselves. It's that false self that we generate, and we go the way of that and think we're going our own way, but really we're not. We've left our own way, the truth about us, our real purpose, our real being, we've left it behind to follow this generational pattern that sooner or later somebody in the generations has to forgive, has to remove in order to be free of it, so that we can actually go our own way, which, in the creation story in Aramaic, it doesn't, it speaks about, go forth and multiply and replenish the face of the earth, which in Aramaic meant bring to completion. Everybody listened to the multiply command, but the bring the creation to completion. Like, here's the Creator saying, okay, you're the cutting edge. I've given you everything you need to take this to the next step. And when we lost contact with that and created this world of perception, and each generational error that was never resolved leads us farther and farther away from what truly is our own way.
I like that thought. It's much clearer, more helpful than my stumbling around with where I was going with mine. So I'll take that on and reflect on it.
Sweet.
Would you like me to do 1C and finish up the worksheet?
Let's do it.
Mom, based on number 3, from love, I structure a goal toward you and offer to you another worksheet on you as 1A and Grandma Hayes as 1C, her mom. Yeah. So, and if you don't mind, I really enjoy working with you on these because it's very helpful.
Cool.
So,
and the last step?
Isn't that 7? I'm not sorry. I apologize. I didn't see it. I breathe. Let me see. How does that work? Okay.
Breathe.
I breathe.
Be love.
I am love. I be love. I cleanse, and I bathe in oxygen. And
bathe
then
in oxygen.
Yeah. And I am bathing in oxygen more. I commit to love, to living a human life, check. And to help achieve this, I do a mass counseling of all the times I wanted number 3 from anyone else, check. And I've got my initials, and I check the breathe, be love, cleanse, and bathe in oxygen. I also
now the
check
initials,
truth and perfect love. And the initials are for, those initials
that's
are
for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, those initials are for every time that I held this goal. The goal I have in number identified in number 3A. To cancel that goal every time in my life that I've held that goal and it hasn't been fulfilled and built this whole structure in my mind. And my question would be, if you look at that goal in the completion of this worksheet, does it relate to what you started out with when we started this worksheet, speaking about, although the worksheet wasn't actually on it, but I suspect it probably relates to the conflict that was going on for you and Larry.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on that one. Yep. And it's getting better and better and sweeter. And
cool.
then my daughter.
Was this the goal? Yeah. Does this goal relate to that situation with that particular conflict?
Let me look. Yes, in some respects, and there might be different aspects, but no, probably pretty much the same. Safe and loved. Let me be me, and to acknowledge me. Yes, Yes, it does. But that works in reverse, Michael.
How's that?
I need to be willing to do the same in reverse.
Yes.
So anyway,
Good catch.
Here I am. Thank you.
Sweet. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I couldn't. This is a co-creative universe. It would have taken me a lot longer at the very best to have done this without support from our family.
Well, you definitely have our support. And, we had talked about we're going to start to make Mondays Worksheet Monday. So if you'd like to do the worksheet on Larissa on Monday,
yeah,
we could pick up and do that if that works and fits.
Yep.
Cool.
I kind of have my own timing that I have to make space for it. I want to make space for it within the context of my responsibilities. So I am working on it as fast as I can. Actually, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good dance here.
Nice. Well,
Nice
if it fits
footwork.
on Monday, let's pick up and do that worksheet with Larissa.
I'll be in touch, and you'll know as soon as I'm ready to go on to the next one, for sure. I want to savor this and digest it really well.
I hear you loud and clear, and I hold space for the unfolding of every aspect of what you've let go of and how the ripples and the reflections in your world are going to change.
It's really fascinating because my son, from my second marriage, Noel, and his little Japanese wife, they would both like to go live in Japan. So here comes the mother thing again. Oh no, I won't be able to see him. But
no, there's no need to control him and change what he's doing, is there?
No, I'm not going to.
Good for you.
I'm not going to.
Okay. So you're not going to, but
I'm
does
not.
Does it exist in your mind?
Well, as it does, I'm going to worksheet it.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And like
nice.
I am not about to shine on their parade. Noah waited. Let me see. Noah waited about 47 years for the woman of his dreams. And they were engaged before that for 4 years, before Maho could even come to the United States, because she had gone to Iran to learn Farsi, just because she thought that would be a cool thing to do. And it was during the Trump regime, and they wouldn't let her in because they thought she was a potential terrorist.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a long-distance relationship for 4 years. So there's no way I'm going to rain on their parade.
So notice your regulatory speech, and why would you want to rain on their parade?
Because of my issues about abandonment. So if I have issues about abandonment and I'm feeling it and they're coming up, I need to do work.
Okay, so that's step one. Now the next part of the puzzle is, and what are you going to do about it with them?
Oh, I'm encouraging them. Go live your life what you want, how you want, and I'm supporting you 100%. I'll take care of my emotions.
There you go. There you go. Look at the shift. Yeah. Look at the shift that you've made in one generation. That's pretty profound.
Then I may do a worksheet on my poor brother. You know, he came from that. He took on in spades that my mother's side of the family, because she sent him to live with my father when he was about 3 years old, or maybe 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, what that meant, ramifications for me, ramifications for him. And I have been trying to encourage him that, you know, she mentioned to me once that she had uncontrollable bouts of rage, and she was terribly afraid to be angry because she just would be consumed by rage. And I think probably he tried to have a temper tantrum, or he tried to fight back because he was a little boy. He might have had more testosterone than I did, or more, you know, more just sheer willpower, or whatever he brought in from the Hayes side of the family, the boys. And she might have gone into a murderous rage, which he has totally blocked out and doesn't even remember. And just to save his life, she sent him to my father. That's my story.
So she may well have been doing a favor for him.
She, yeah. Or she couldn't handle two children, and especially a strong-willed little boy.
Yeah.
And for all of the above. And she was a single parent, and I suspect she had financial fears. And she divorced my father and found out, oops, she had put herself in a financial situation where her little lifeboat was sinking or something. And we don't know, right? We don't know what the situation is. No. We don't
resonate for me. Yeah. Well, you resonate the memory of a young man that came to Heartland back, well, this is probably 35 years ago, and his core issue was Dad. Dad had abandoned him when he was born. Or I don't remember, it might even been before he was born. He left and just disappeared and never had seen him, never had any contact from him, and just hated him, and, or at least, you know, his hate was pointed at Dad. He thought it was about Dad. When he finally resolved it, when the intensive was complete, his assignment was to find his father and communicate, open communication, which he'd sworn he would never do. And he did do that. And I mean, it was just like such a huge turnaround for him, because he contacted me after he made connection with his father. And it was just like literally a 180-degree flip. His father had abandoned him because he was worthless, and all the things that he had made up about that, you know, passive, we've talked about passive power person messages. And when he finally made contact with his father shared that when he was a kid, he had been so horrifically abused and he had such temper that he could not imagine being able to do anything other than rage and destroy his son, and so he left as a gift to his son so that he wouldn't destroy him. And it was just like, I got tears coming just tapping back into the energy of that, what this young man had spent his whole life hating over. And it was the greatest gift that this man could think about giving his son. You know, in his mind, that's what it was. He was giving up what he knew would destroy his son by giving up his son. So you never know what the realities are that lurk behind somebody's eyeballs.
Yeah.
And when we can bring the truth of who we are to that space behind our eyeballs, then we can stand in compassion and as the presence of love, as the presence of empathy for any and everyone. And when we get that dynamic on planet Earth to go to a critical mass, we get enough people who can do that one. That's when the mega shift is going to happen with humanity.
Which reminds me of the fire, the grid. Go ahead.
Just that's the moment Yeshua spoke about where he said, you know, leavening leavens the whole loaf. The physics of enough people becoming the space of love and compassion for the most disastrous behaviors of humanity is when humanity transforms. That's the end of the world, the end of the creation, but the end of this insane world that people live in between their ears called perception that most people believe is all about everybody else but them. I mean, it's just like
Right.
such a monumental insight to go, oh my God, this reality that's coming up in me is telling me about me. Where there's upset, it's always telling me about me first. Where there's anything other than compassion and love, my mind is telling me about its content. And because we've been so trained to live in denial and dissociation, it's a whole bloodline of dynamics that we've hidden from ourselves. And few are those who are willing to take on the work of actually facing and working through that. It's pretty amazing. So
Yep.
breathing
And
with you and enjoy with you about the work you're doing.
Yeah, I'm finding this. I was cut off totally from my joy all of my life. I cut myself off, not consciously, not awarely, not maliciously. I just didn't know.
Yep.
And I didn't have the
That's
tools.
That's the key, is to have the tools to and the willingness to use them. Of course, many people get the tools, but actually using them and facing these levels of literal insanity that we all carry around it's quite a challenge.
Well, one thing I took from the Christmas message, on the Christmas cards, however, a lot of the Christmas cards are about love, joy, and peace. Love, joy, and peace. And I even have this little plastic Christmas tree ornament that's basically love, joy, love, and peace. I think that's how they've got it. So it makes a little Christmas tree shape in green and red letters. And that stuck with me from the very time I was small. And Christmas always stuck with me. That was my big event, Christmas. And now I'm finding that that's popping up in all of the spiritual paths. They just language it differently.
Yep.
And that when those all come together and we're truly ecumenical, and that we've been truly inclusive, and embrace the honest scientific perspective as well as the spiritual perspective from the true scientists who are not true believers, but like Einstein, we don't know. It's like we don't know. It's like what Tim was saying this morning, Dr. Tim. He was saying, those who say they know don't know, and those who say I know nothing, they're onto something.
Have an opportunity to be taught.
There you go.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for your support in my rediscovering my own joy that I lost before I even knew what it was, and my own peace. And this work is going to help me with my latest challenge, Larry's and my latest challenge together, not between us. So it's going to help me come from a totally different perspective than when I first started. And
Sweet.
dealt
For holding the space with you.
It's going to work out. Thank you so much. And Jeannie, you
all right, blessings.
Appreciate you both. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Well, we're down to 5
Well, Miss
minutes.
Jeannie,
No
we've got
hands
5
up.
minutes. Well, let's call for a hand. Don't really want to start into something with just 5 minutes to go. So if you're out there in listener land, you got a 5-minute conversation for us? Question? Thought? What's on your mind? Well, instead of going back to the topic we were on, I'm going to just take the last few minutes then to invite everybody to just take a deep breath. And one of the things that Ryan and Gabby were sharing with us, Lincoln's parents, was that they're feeling very blessed with their son being in this neonatal where there are several babies that are not so lucky. And so what I'm going to do is just invite everybody to allow yourself to soften and take a few deep breaths. And as you breathe, allow everything within your structure to loosen. And that last set of words in the worksheet, inviting you to just step in, ever so gently into your own breath, stepping into that space of being the presence of love, cleansing and bathing your own physiology in oxygen. So breathing with you and inviting everyone to step into that space, and for those babies that are in the neonatal care unit in Johnson City, I just invite this whole community to gently breathe, tap into the presence of love that you are. And let's just imagine you can extend that presence of love that you are, not because you know the geography, but just because of the energy of babies that are in neonatal care in Johnson City, Tennessee. Just allow yourself to attune to those babies, some of them who are struggling for life itself. Tap into that presence of love that you are. And energetically reach out to them in whatever way is most appropriate for you. That you imagine with these sick infants that you're able to reach and touch each one of them with that presence of love in this particular city. And as you breathe on a deeper level and soften on a whole different level, you reach to a different level of being able to radiate this energy of active love that every infant struggling for breath, every infant struggling for life throughout the world is given the opportunity to touch the hem of your garment and receive support. And you breathe deeply, and the energy of each person in this community joins with holding those babies. Giving them a sense of serenity and extending that serenity to each parent involved with each of those children. And by strengthening the presence of love, your energy of love draws the love that they are, the beings that they are, into their own bodies, deeply shifting each energetic pattern toward health, the ability to breathe, the ability of hearts to function, livers to function, lungs to function, circulatory systems to function, brains, sinuses, eyes, ears, muscles, sinew, bone. That we lend energy to each of the children in the world that's suffering. And by extension to each of the parents who holds concern about those suffering children. And by extension from the parents, each family member. Touched by the presence of your love. Breathing deeply with you, holding the space. Have a wondrous, awesome weekend. We will be doing the radio show, bar any problems on this end, on Monday, the holy day.